Welcome back. We are here. I'm Hillary, and with me is
Amy, also from Mama Bear Apologetics.
Elizabeth Urbanowitz from Foundation Worldview.
And Lindsay Mednwelt from Mama Bear Apologetics.
Yep. So we are doing some more quality quarantine series videos with you, and today is Training Tuesday. So we are going to be training kids how to do really practical things that maybe either they haven't done in a while, maybe our society's kind of forgotten how to do, but things that are really important to being a good human being. So today we're going to talk about letter writing, because we discussed the movie yesterday with Mr. Rogers about how he purposely wrote letters. He took pictures to make people feel important. And so in this world where we have text and we have email, we have forgotten how to sit down with pen and paper, write a letter, address it, stamp it, and send it. I can even speak from personal experience. I have some weird thing with like actually sending the card. Something with all the women in my family was like, we can like write something and address it, and then we just can't get it to the mailbox for some reason. So if you need someone to help you like finish the task, get someone who, find what you're bad at and have someone help you finish it. But we want to talk about a couple of things, just why this is important in for making other people feel important, but also I know that this can be kind of weird because a lot of times people think, oh, letter writing, that is something that girls do. We all talked about letters that we had received. And in fact, I had one that Elizabeth had written to me after my sister passed away that I had on my desk for a really long time. And my desk is messy right now, so I'm sure it's here. But how this isn't just for girls, this is also for boys too. So thankfully we have a boy mom and a girl mom here with us. Elizabeth has actually talked with their kids back when she was a teacher how to write these letters. So Elizabeth, how did you teach your kiddos to write the letters? And and first off, I would say, what were you trying to teach them to avoid? Because a lot of times they say repetitive stuff.
Yes. So a lot of times for kids, a lot of times it's more common for boys, but sometimes for girls too, they just struggle. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know what to put down here. So when we would be making Mother's Day cards or Father's Day cards, I would give them an example and I would say, okay, I would call one of my students up to the front and I'd say, okay, like, let's say it was Lydia. I'd say, Lydia, which compliment would you prefer? If I said, Lydia, you are awesome. You are the greatest. You are the best, Lydia. Or if I said, Lydia, I really appreciate how kind you are to other people and how intentional you are every day at making sure that those around you are taken care of. And then she would of course say, oh, I prefer the second one. We talk about why, because I had actually seen her as a person. And so then I would just give my students some questions to think through, like, what are some things that your mom does that shows you that she loves you? Or what are some things that your dad does that shows you that he loves you, or he takes care of you, or he's there for you? And then have them write those things down. Because a lot of times if we give kids, a blank piece of paper, it just feels so overwhelming. So if we give them specific questions, and then also to be intentional about gratitude, because that's just something that's, been so lost in our culture. And so to even talk about, we're going to sit down and we're going to write a thank you letter. And it's like, but they didn't get me a gift. And thank you letters aren't just for gifts. It's just for a way of loving people and showing them, that they're valuable and that you care about them. So just a great way to get our kids thinking outside of themselves and thinking about other people. But a lot of times we just need that structure there to really get them intentionally thinking, rather than causing some conflict within our home when we give them a blank card and they don't do anything with it.
Yes. Oh, that's so funny. And that's one thing that I notice is a kind of a struggle for my guys is thinking about, okay, what do I write? Cause you give them, you say, okay, well, let's make a card. And they just draw a blank. They're like, who is this person? And it's like, it's grandma. And so it's great for I love those intentional questions, cause it does get them thinking, okay, wait, what did we do maybe last summer? Or, what's something I like? It helps them express that. And then, for some kids, they have just different learning styles or different ways of expressing things. My middle guy is big into World War II history and aliens. So that Joshy loves you when he sends you a drawing of the Battle of Normandy. I mean, like if there's a Tiger tank on there, I mean, that's saying something. There's some affection there.
With and then alien from the top.
Oh yeah. And there's lasers coming down. You're just like, okay. And he was like, it's cause I love you. And there was one time my oldest wrote me a note when he was like 6 or 7. It was the sweetest thing. I was in the middle of a semester and I had been, I had papers and midterms and all this stuff. And he just wrote this sweet little hearts and things. He goes, I love you, Mom. I'm sorry you have to do hard work. And it was just, it was so sweet. And it's just these simple little things. I love Elizabeth's suggestions. And then too, not putting maybe so much pressure that they have to write a novel. I mean, even just a loving picture that sort of expresses their personality or something that the memory that they have is just a great way to help, boys who may not be quite into the feelings, but also more of the artistic kiddos, whether they be boy or girls.
Yes. Because we can't say, we've got to be honest. There's, it's not just boys that don't want to express their emotions. There are some girls that are just like, I don't know what to say.
Right.
Yes.
But we've seen sort of a resurgence of the thank you note in the last week or months. I'm sorry, the months, right? Of the pandemic. We have seen people making poster cards, thanking the essential workers, or writing on their driveways, thank you nurses, or whatever. So it doesn't have to be complicated. Really, just get your kids thinking about who in our neighborhood can we thank? We've got 2 military personnel who live right across the street from us. So maybe making a poster card that says, thank you for going to work every day to keep us safe, or something that they can see that would be meaningful to them. And I want to emphasize that letter writing is not just a female thing. One of my mentors, Dr. Doug Rotice, Christian apologist, consistently has a letter writing practice, and he sends letters weekly to somebody. And he also does this for his students. Like, I keep one in my Bible case, and he picks something that's interesting to him. So he's super into jazz. So he has postcards of jazz musicians. And then on the back, he wrote me, I'm going to hold it back a little bit further so you don't have to see how personal he got, but, a personal note to me. And he gave this to me at, in one of our classes. And it just basically said, thank you for being here. And I just got a thank you note in the mail this week from one of my sorority sisters, thanking me for the efforts of what I do for our sorority. So it doesn't have to be a long note, and make it something that's meaningful for your kids. Modify a card that maybe isn't intentionally a thank you note. Maybe it's a birthday card that they really think is pretty cool. Cut it in half, just use that pretty cool part and have them draw a picture or write a quick note on it and pop it in the mail. You can order stamps online, by the way, so you don't have to go to the post office to get them. That personal experience, I just ordered a bunch of stamps online because I was like, I don't want to go to the post office. You don't have to. Get them delivered to your doorstep.
There you go. And
Awesome.
Elizabeth, you do this. You purposely do this on Thursdays, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I have it right here. I have this is my little thank you note box that I always try to keep stacked. And several years ago, I read a book by Nancy Lee DeMoss called Choosing Gratitude, which sounds like a fluffy title, like, write your list of what you're thankful for. But no, it was so much deeper. And she was actually building a biblical case for the necessity of living with gratitude every day. And she made an argument saying that every other Christian virtue divorced from gratitude is not distinctly Christian. And so that just really convicted me. And I thought, I'm more of like a glass half empty kind of person. And so it's like, I need to do something to change this. And so one of the things that I started doing is I just make Thursday a day of thankfulness. And so I write at least one thank you note on Thursdays, just thinking like, who am I thankful for, that God has placed in my life, and just try to make that a habit. And that's just really been transformative, even in the way that I think. Like, don't get me wrong, my natural tendency is still glass half empty kind of person, but it helps switch my thinking more quickly to like, oh, there's so much to be thankful for in this situation.
That is so cool. So that's let's make that an activity that we do for this Training Tuesday. And it also, if you have young kids, it can be helpful for reminding them how addresses work. You put the address line here. This is the city, the state, and the zip code and stuff like that. And the stamp looks just like a sticker. So sometimes they'll be like, oh, I want to put it on. Let them do that. And maybe have some people say, hey, would you write one to us? We'll write one to you. Maybe find some of their friends that they can write these letters back and forth. I remember when I was young, getting a letter in the mail was such a bigger deal. And now that we have email, it's like nice to get an email. But when I see something with my name written, hand lettered, written by something, there's just that little excitement that you give. And so we want to be giving that to others, and then it's fun to receive it. So let's bring that skill back and start being thankful again. And learning how to write letters. So we will see you tomorrow for Worldview Wednesday, where Elizabeth is going to go through another one of her great books. Not that she wrote, but that she used to read to our kids. And we will see you tomorrow for that. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.